everyone, it's Lindsay from the Black Books for Christian Girls, and today's video is one I've never done before, but is very common on booktube, and here I am finally doing it. And as you probably already know, it is a recent reads video. I've never done these before. I'm so excited. About 2017 and the part of 2018, I did a monthly wrap-up sharing what I reviewed, but now, since I really just review 4 to 5 books in a month, I've kind of stopped doing those videos. But when I ask out about what y'all want to see on my channel, y'all keep mentioning those. So I don't know, I feel like it'd be kind of boring with just 4 or 5 books, and it would be pretty short too. And apparently I don't make short videos anymore. And, you know, let's just do a recent reads. Let's just do that. This is from the entirety of 2020. I have a few books to talk about. And to make it more difficult on myself, I'm going to describe each book with a little review in 5 words or less. Why am I doing this? I don't know, but here we go. Let's start. So to begin with, there was about 5-ish books, I think 5 books roughly, that I either started and didn't finish or just decided to unhaul. Because if you haven't seen my last few videos or you're new here, hi, welcome, my bookshelf's a disaster, I know. And that is because I have challenged myself to pull off any books I'm not so sure if I would like again if I, well, not just like, but just really enjoy them, because I just want to keep the books on my shelf that I really enjoy. I did a super long video talking about unhauling, reading books, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to watch like a 53-minute video, that's what that is. But basically, I've already done one unhauling update, and here is kind of my second update within a recent reads video. There you go. I'm still wearing my Fitbit and my hairband. Okay, that's great, Lindsay. Let's take that off now. Bummer. Okay, I'm not restarting this video over because of that. So ignore the lines on my wrist. So, as I was saying, there is a handful of books I started from January 2020 to now, February 2nd? 3rd. Basically, I'm going to do an update on my little unhauling, rereading thing. A lot of these books that I read are actually rereads. So, there we go. There's my little introduction, another introduction. So, to begin with, the Heritage of Lancaster County series by Beverly Lewis, The Shunning, is the first book. Very popular. I've had these on my shelf for years, and I have read them, and I liked them the first read through. But now I've kind of decided I don't really want to reread them to decide if I want to keep them or not. Because I don't think it's going to be like a 3.5 or a 4 stars for me keeping them on these bookshelves. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass these along. Along those same lines is Gone Missing by Cami Tang, and also Love Finds You in Snowball, Arkansas by Sandra J. Bricker. This one I tried to get into, and I remember her books being very entertaining and fun, but I couldn't get into this one when I picked it up, and I don't have that I rated it super high on my original review. Same with this one, so there we go. So yes, those have been passed along, and now with the books I actually read and finished. Oh, I did also finish in 2019 in December, Carolina Gold by Dorothy Love. I enjoyed this one. For some reason, I feel like I've mentioned it before that it had little to no romance. But in all honesty, it's just light romance. Like, it's not the main focus of the story, so it kind of comes out of left field when it does happen. But, I mean, it's still interesting. I don't plan to keep it either. Okay, and then I read some ebooks over this January 2020, so let's just talk about those and give my 5-word synopsises. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, first one was Final Deposit by Lisa Harris. Okay, let me think. Not my favorite, but fun. Main girl's name was Lindsey. Hey! Spelt the right way. Just saying. Okay, wait, let's see. Dated, but an easy read. There we go. 15 words for one book. But whatever, just pick pick whichever sentence you want for that. Like I said in one of those reviews, it is dated because it is all about internet scamming and the whole scam email kind of thing. So like that was kind of felt a little more the more you know kind of thing, to watch out for that. But again, I think my generation really knows to be aware of that. We've kind of been raised in that society of being cautious online in some ways. But yeah, it was interesting. Not my favorite by this author, but it's still, I felt like a lot more love-inspired books from a few years ago have a little more depth in them nowadays. So, I mean, it was cute and I liked it. It was a library book, easy to read. The main girl's name was Lindsey, so there you go. Please excuse my dog. I think we are getting a delivery. So, that always happens right when I film. Such is life. Regardless, the next kind of trilogy I read was the Enslaved series by Katie Clark. Gotta be honest, I despise these covers. I'm so sorry. But I strongly dislike these covers. And so, to begin with the 5-word review, Book 1, Vanquished. Let's see. Dystopian, upcoming rebellion, questioning girl. I really like dystopian books. I do. They're my weakness. For Book 2, Deliverance, the only way I can sum this up was there was a love triangle. Is love triangle hyphenated? Probably is. Regardless, there is a love triangle in this one. And then final, Book 3, Redeemer. Book 1 was the best. Wait, Book 1 was the best. Yeah, it was. So this trilogy follows a main girl in the future. It's a dystopian plot, as I've mentioned, and it's a fun one if you want a dystopian book, because I still love dystopian books. The series is fun in that regard, and I love the hint of an upcoming rebellion in my dystopian books. Not sure why, but I do. And basically what happens in the story in Book 1, the main girl's mom is diagnosed with the mutation, which is basically cancer. And she becomes very questioning on the whole society that she is currently being raised in. And then she finds out things that they never were told. And you know, it's kind of the typical dystopian in that way. And Book 2 really reminded me of the Anomaly trilogy's Book 2. But honestly, again, if you like dystopian, I don't see why you wouldn't give it a try. It's fun. It's interesting. I would say, though, Book 1 is the best to me. The other two didn't quite match up to what I wanted. So I will be unhauling this series, but again, it is one I will recommend if you like dystopian books. But again, I have the full content down below linked for all of the ones I've read. The next one was also a library Kindle loan. It was an older love-inspired book called My So-Called Love Life by Ali. I will not even attempt. So let's see. 5 words. Writing style was very entertaining. There you go. Okay, I'm actually going to stick with that one. Just do 1 for that one. Because there was a lot of parts when the main girl, it was written in first person, and she was talking to the reader, and it was just very humorous in that regard. There was one scene particularly that just stood out to me that I really enjoyed. And I mean, it did have some parts I didn't like, of course. It did deal with topics of suicide, so if you are sensitive to that, probably don't read that one. So it did have more depth than I feel like I see in love-inspired books nowadays that are published. They're all very, I guess the word would be fluffy, and I liked that this one had a little more depth to it. Kind of like how I mentioned with the Final Deposit book at the beginning of this 5-word sentence challenge, that the older love-inspired books from my experience have a little more depth than the current ones. And I enjoyed this one, had some parts I didn't like, but I do plan on reading more older love-inspired books. So there we go. Okay, next we have Wreath by Judy Christie. This was a reread, 5 words. YA, not based entirely on romance. Oh, no, that won't work. Okay, on doesn't count. On doesn't count. Let's just point that out. Okay, regardless. Loophole. Okay. So, this one is interesting in the way of it's a YA and it kind of hints to romance, but it really doesn't have any romance. And I really enjoyed this one. And then I read book 2. So book 2, Wreath in Summer by Judy Christie. Book 2 in the Wreath series, and let's see. First 1 star of the year. Unfortunately, there was just so much content. There was cussing, and for being a sequel to a Christian book, I was very disappointed. Nearly no Christian content. There was cussing. There was detailed and semi-detailed dog fighting, like people betting on dog fighting and all of that. And I wasn't there for that. Had I known it would have been about dog fighting, I never would have picked it up. The back cover mentions nothing about that in the edition I read, so I was very disappointed. And I will not be picking up book 3. And because of my unsatisfaction and disappointing end with book 2, I will be unhauling book 1, even though technically I did enjoy book 1. But, oh well. I don't know if anyone else is like that, where it doesn't matter how good the first book is. If I read book 2 and it's disappointing, that ruins book 1 for me. I can't be the only one. Tell me I'm not the only reader like that, because that is me. Okay, next I'm continuing with the love-inspired books. These are actually all from 2012. So let's just go ahead and get started. This is a mini-series called Texas Twins. Basically what happened was a couple got married and then they split up. And they each took, they had 2 sets of twins, 2 boys, 2 girls, and they each took one. So it gets kind of complicated, especially when the girls meet each other. So, with that, Her Surprise Sister by Marta Perry. Unrealistic, but an interesting plot. There we go. Mirror Image Bride by Barbara McCune. Cute, pretty clean, and fun. I did like these 2 the best. I want to point out. I liked these 2 the best out of the trilogy. The 2 boys, I wasn't a fan of their stories that much. Carbon Copy Cowboy by Arlene James. Kissed her when she was crying. I don't care if that's 6 words. That is such a pet peeve for me. When they kiss her when she's crying, I'm like, you are emotionally preying on her. I despise that so much. And I do see that a lot in love-inspired books for some reason. It needs to stop. Please. Please. And speaking of that, Look-alike Lawman by Glenna Kane. Same as the last book. He also kissed her when she was crying or emotionally distraught. Can we not do that? That tells it's okay. It's not okay, y'all. It's not okay. Number 5 in this series is The Soldier's Newfound Family by Katherine Springer. Better than the last 2. There we go. It was better than the last. And then the last book in this Texas Twins series is Reunited for the Holidays by Jillian Hart. Hallmark with issue-driven plot. Not super issue-driven, but this is from the parents that originally they split, they divorced. Something happens that I won't share because of spoilers. And that's really what got me through rereading the series. Was I was very curious on why did what happened again, because I couldn't remember. I have read this series before, but I couldn't remember. With all that said, I do plan on unhauling them. Don't really see the need to keep them on my shelves, as I most likely will not reread them. So with that, here are more books to unhaul. Okay, and the last book I want to discuss. I'm so excited about this book. I finished it yesterday, so my emotions are still like, woo, about it. It was my first time reading it. That one is, what is it? It is Twinapathy by C.B. Cook. Okay, disclaimer, not a Christian book. The author is Christian. Now, I want to point out, though, that this is one of the cleanest books I have ever read. And it still had action in it. Like, for having some action in it, cleanest book. One of the cleanest books. I'm just so impressed by that fact. So, major props to the author. I definitely want to read book 2. So, book 1, Twinapathy. Probably pronouncing that wrong, and it even says how to pronounce it on Goodreads, so I apologize. But it is a superhero book. Do you know, I don't think I've ever read a superhero book. Like, superheroes have never really been my thing, per se. It's not that I'm against them. It's not that I'm for them. It's just, I've really been interested in them. So this one just took me by surprise with how much I enjoyed it. Like, I can't tell you, nearly every page I was smiling from reading it because it was just so unique and just really a breath of fresh air from everything I've read, really, because it was so different and I really liked it. Again, no Christian content, but super duper clean. There might be like a couple like duh, dumb, idiot, stupid, words like that. And then there is a little bit of fighting, but again, it all was like barely above not detailed. Like it was so clean. It was so clean. And I'm so looking forward to reading book 2. Gotta get my hands on it. And I definitely want to get a copy of this for my shelves. Okay, wait. Okay, I gotta do my 5 words. I've talked too much about it. Not Christian, super clean, superheroes. There we go. Wait, not Christian, super clean, superheroes. There we go, yeah. Those are my words. It was just interesting. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, it was so much fun. Basically, I want to talk a little bit more about the plot of this book, though. So it's 2 twin girls, and it's set from the point of view of Albany. Why can't I say that word? New York, like New York, okay? Okay, get that? Okay. So it is set from her perspective. And her and her sister have always had like telepathy. I am failing with words today. But they've always been able to communicate with each other through their brains. That sounds really kind of dorky when I say it. But it's a cool plot, y'all. It's a cool plot. And it was just really interesting because like then they get connected with other people with superpowers, and it was really fun. I do want to point out, for anyone worried about magic or anything, there is no magic like words, like curses, spells, etc. None of that is in this book. It is all just good old classic superpowers. It's not really said where they're from, so there is my little magic warning, because I know anytime you mention a fantasy book, I always note about that kind of thing. And I want to consider this fantasy, but I guess it would be considered fantasy. Did I just really like a fantasy book? Gasp. I know. Okay, so with that, those are my books I've recently read. Woo! And then I also unhauled some books too, so there we go. I'll probably end up doing this maybe every other month, every 3 months probably, because I only post every other week now. So I don't want it to be too prevalent. Like, that's all I'm doing. But I am really enjoying this. This was really fun. So I hope y'all enjoyed it too. I had so much fun doing this video, and just the 5 words, I do have to admit, I already have to think of these, because if I did not think of those, editing this would have been a pain. So I did kind of already have a general idea for my 5 words for each book. So forgive me, it's not quite on the spot, but I'm not that witty. I need time. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed, and I'll probably notice it with editing and be like low-key embarrassed, but when I do my fingers, when I count 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So did I count like this at all? I think I just counted like this. Like this, it's no problem. So, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is no problem for me to count. But, fun fact, when I count the other way, I can't do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My ring finger cannot go up before my pinky. I have no idea why. It has been like this since I was little. Like, I can, even if I physically hold down my pinky. That hurts. It hurts. So, yeah. There we go. Fun TMI Lindsey fact that you didn't really need to know. Well, not TMI, like too much information, grossness, but just bonus fact. And with that, that is all for this video. That was a weird way to end it, Lindsey. Wanted to explain in case you noticed my fingers looked weird when I was counting off words. With that, though, yeah, really, this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this video. I hope y'all did. Let me know if y'all have read any of these books, your thoughts, if you want to read any of them. Now, based on my 5-word review, or, you know, my other talking about the books, I was just going to do 5 words, but it's hard to describe everything in 5 words. No shock there. So, I expanded a little. Oh well. that's it for this video. I hope y'all have a lovely rest of your day. I'm Lindsay from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where in 2020 there's a new review every Friday. I have a new video on this channel every other Thursday, and I'm on Instagram somewhat randomly, but I'm trying to do better. I'm trying. Okay, bye y'all.